While we've got you with us, sir, I'd like to get your thoughts on the ongoing Julian Assange case in Britain. I'm sure you've been watching it, his legal battle with Britain and with a number of other countries as well, but equally his attempts to get asylum in Ecuador, which he's now got. He's holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy. What's your opinion, though, about Britain's stance? At one point it was talking about revoking the embassy's diplomatic immunities. They could actually go in and get him. That kind of sounds a bit odd when, of course, you think as well that Russia has a number of suspects that Russia wants to talk to in Britain. It's a kind of topsy-turvy situation, isn't it? But they're given safe harbour in Britain.
This certainly is an unsettling factor in our relations with the UK. I used to tell my previous counterparts and friends in the British government, not those holding office at the moment, that Britain happens to be harbouring certain individuals who have blood on their hands, having waged a real war on Russian territory and slaughtered people. I told them, just imagine what it would be like if Russia were to harbour militants from, say, the Irish Republican Army. Not those negotiating and pursuing a compromise with the government these days, those are perfectly sane and sensible people, but those with a radical agenda. You know what I was told in response? But that's exactly what the Soviet Union used to do, aiding people like that. First of all, I'm a former Soviet Secret Service operative myself. I don't know whether the USSR used to aid this sort of people or not, simply because I never had anything to do with it. But even if we assume it did, that was back in the Cold War era. There has been a cardinal change in the settings. The Soviet Union is history, and what we have today is a new Russia. How can we allow ourselves to be dominated by our old phobias and outdated perceptions of international relations and the kind of relations between our nations? It's time to let them go. We are constantly lectured about how independent Britain's judiciary is. It makes its own decisions, and no one can influence it. But what about Julian Assange? They have ruled him to be extradited. What is that if it's not a self-evident example of a double standard? I won't make a definitive statement, but as far as I know, Ecuador has requested guarantees from the Swedish government that Sweden wouldn't hand Assange over to the United States. No guarantees have been forthcoming. At the very least, this suggests that we are looking at a politically motivated trial.
Okay, we'll be following the